Now, GPC Asia Pacific is a massive company. How do you keep people connected and motivated across so many different silos and sections within that business?
Yeah, it's a big beast. It starts with having a really strong, stable, well-aligned, values-based leadership team. And I'm really fortunate to work with a group of people I think are probably among the very best in our industry. We all get on tremendously well. We challenge each other. We hold each other to account. And we've got a great leader in Rob Cameron that steers the ship for us. But we all work really hard. I think we're values-based people. And we set a pretty good pace and cadence, I think, for the team. One of the things that John Moller brought and Rob has taken another level is a planning discipline. And what that planning discipline allows us to do is to think about, what is it that we aspire to be, and thinking out 3 to 5 years in advance around what's our ambition for the organisation, and then stepping back from that and saying, right, well, if we're here today and we want to be there in 5 years' time, what are the logical steps we've got to take? And then, there's a lot of work involved in all of that and volumes of information that comes together to develop a plan like that. But you've got to have an ability then to convert that to really simple sets of messages that everyone can understand.
To your point before around speaking to different audiences, setting it at the top and then chunking it down.
So you can have a really complex, flashy, strategic plan that's obviously important for the board and the shareholders to understand, but you've also got to convert that to simple, plain English that everyone in the team can understand, and importantly understand their role. And what role do they play in us achieving that part of the plan? And then, communicating that to them initially, but then keeping them updated on our progress as well, and celebrating the successes with them along the way. And also, if there's challenges, what can we do to improve upon that? So communication is talked about a lot in leadership, and it's easier said than done, but you've got to keep working on the communication, and it can't all just be one way, because otherwise, organisations become tone deaf. They believe in their strategy and they communicate that out. But if they're not listening to their customers or their team or their suppliers and getting feedback the other way, you can't calibrate. So we work really hard on customer research, satisfaction surveys with our trade customers, supplier surveys, team member engagement surveys, to try and keep a check on, how are we actually doing in the eyes of those key stakeholders?
It's a two-way street, isn't it? You need that feedback cycle.
Yeah, and we know we're not perfect, right? We've got a good business. We've been around for over 100 years. We're the market leader, performing really well, but there's opportunity everywhere to do better. And then you say, well, then how do you do all that? There's always more opportunity than you can possibly get your handle on in one bite. So we break that down and prioritise and make choices and try to do better. But back to your point, it's everyone in the team. There's 8,000 people across the organisation.
Wow.
Have all got a role to play in our success, and it's making sure that we help them understand the role they've got, the part they play, how they contribute to our success, and then sort of keeping them updated and recognising them as best we can along the way that their role's important and they're contributing to the overall success of the organisation.
Well, everyone's got to win together, don't they?
100%, and that's one of our values. Our values are not just written on the wall, they're things that we live and breathe in the organisation. So we're have a value around winning together, going the extra mile to service our customers, inspiring innovation, those sorts of things. Well, you can't just put them on a flashy piece of paper on the wall. You've actually got to bring them to life in everything you do every day.
Excellent.
Yep.
Wayne, what are some practical examples of that? What does that actually look like?
Well, I guess one of the things that we talk about a lot in our business is being really customer obsessed. At the end of the day, we're all here. The only reason we're here is to serve our customers, right? That's what makes the world go around for us. So a practical example of that for me is a very simple thing. If I'm ever out in a store, and I do plenty of store visits, and it doesn't really matter who I'm with, whether it's a board member or my boss or my team, I'll always stop and go and serve a customer if I can get the chance.
In a store?
100%. So I said earlier, I love that customer service side of the business, but nothing gives me more pleasure than actually helping solve a customer's problem. And then by doing that in the store, actually sets a really good example for everyone else that the customer is actually the most important person in the room. So it doesn't really matter whether it's the CEO or who it is that's with you. It could be the global CEO. if there's a customer I can see that's not being served or is looking for something and they can't quite, you can see by their body language whether they need help or not. I'll say hello to them and say, look, can I help you, or can I get someone to help you? And if the team are busy, I'll jump in myself and do the best I can. And it, probably sounds silly, but I really still enjoy jumping on the catalogue and finding a part. I can get a sale completed in the computer still, a bit rusty, not as sharp as I used to be, but it sort of also gives me an ability to get hands-on and use the tools that we're asking our team to use every day of the week. And you get some real-life experience what they're dealing with in the store every day.
Yeah, I guess it helps you keep your finger on the pulse, and I guess also provides the opportunity to uncover any issues. I know safety is a big part of GPC and the Repco business. Is it good to be in the trenches and be able to interact with everybody?
Yeah, you have to. Like, that's where, look, otherwise you can sit in the office and, you're a shiny bum sitting in the office and giving out directions on what we want to get done. But actually where the money all goes in the till at the store. There's no tills in our support office. That was a John Moller saying that he taught us about. And it's dead true, right? That's where the customer interacts with our teams in the stores. So if you want to get to the truth of the matter and understand what's really going on in the business, you've got to get out and about the stores or in the workshops with our customers and see what happens when they place an order, and whether it's on Navigator Pro or ProLink or on over the phone, and see what that customer experience is like for them when their clock's ticking and they've got the car on the hoist and they're waiting for the part and things aren't going well. That's when you find out whether you're doing a good job or not.
Absolutely. And there's one thing to read a survey or a report and another thing to see it with your own eyes.
Yeah, 100%.